Welcome to this episode of the Down the Pub podcast. On this episode, we are privileged, honored to be joined by new Halifax Wanderers head coach and general manager. It's a very long title you've got.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Pope. Vanni Sartini, welcome to the show, buddy. Thank you so much for doing
Thank you so
this.
much. Thank you so much. They say the longer the title, the less important you are. So, probably.
I first wanted to ask you. Obviously, it's been we just talked a little bit before we came on here. A kind of crazy 36 hours for you. It's you've
Yeah.
had a lot going on. So, you had the press conference, then you had the meet and greet last night. So, how are you feeling with everything? Are you okay? Have you slept at all? How's things been going
Yeah,
for
a
you?
little, no, a little bit, I'm a little bit. And also in between that, I had like, yes, two, three media appearance, meeting the corporate partners of the club. And on top of that, going for some showing to see some apartments, where to move. So that's it's a pretty full basket for the couple of days. So I think I'm okay. Then when you stop, boom, you're gonna faint off. Basically, you're gonna,
Coffee is your friend.
yes, yes, espresso, is my friend. Yeah,
So when One Soccer kind of leaked that you were becoming the head coach, I think on Tuesday, so it kind of ruined the surprise for everybody. But they were talking and they said that it's the most significant signing in the league history. And obviously you've got a very hungry president in Derek Martin who wants a
yeah.
championship yesterday. How do you live with those expectations? How do you deal with those expectations that are being put on
Yeah,
you?
of course. There's a little bit of pressure. First of all, I'm flattered. All the good words and the beautiful, I would say, recognition that my signing has had all over media, fans, and everything. But also, it brings a little bit of pressure because you know that you have to deliver. But at the same time, it's exciting. It's when do you have this level of expectation, it also means that you've done something good in the past, and so you need to keep up. And that's the yeah. I'm looking forward. I relish the challenge, and I'm looking forward to start. To be honest.
Amazing. So you've won three Canadian championships, which is incredible. So you're
Yeah.
no stranger to playing against teams from the CPL. So
Yes.
how did you find the standards of the teams you played against, and what are you expecting from the league?
I think that the league is a very intense league. So the game are always 100% in, and it's really hard every game. Every time that I had to play against a CPL opponents when we were like an MLS. So if you think about it, would say if you just say you compare the salary, there shouldn't be game, but actually there's always game. There's always game every time. Last year you've seen Forge beating Montreal. Every year there's kind of a cup set or almost cup set, and the game every time it's like 1-0, 2-1 for the MLS team. So it's never like a blown out win. And like last year, the Whitecaps that they did fantastically. They tied in Winnipeg and they tied in Hamilton. So that's it's. It's normal. This is the league where I think they're here are very hungry. They want to try to reach to the next level, so they go 100% in. Most of the time, getting 100% in, it brings a little bit of disorganization tactically. But so that's for me. I think it's the challenge to keep I would say, the intensity as high as we can, and try to have the team as more organized as we can in order to have both of the identity that we need in order to be a successful team.
So just before I hand it over to Derek, what's happened to Fiorentina this year?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And don't get. Luckily, we won today in the Europa in the Conference League, but yeah, the real win needs to happen on Sunday. But the problem, I'm telling you, pretty simple. That's how tiny the margin are in soccer. The team is actually a good team, but it's probably a team built to to be a certain kind of team on the front foot, getting possession, and being a beautiful team to play. Now that they tried themselves, that they found themselves in this situation, I think that most of the players are not mentally equipped for the situation, and they have to switch completely the mindset, and they have to switch completely even the way of playing. So we need a cultural shock. I think we need to probably bench a couple of big players or something like this and try to win the next game, and then avoid relegation. Because if not, I'm gonna be very, very, very low, very, very, very blue for the entire season. Yeah, so you don't want me like this.
Far away, Derek.
Hi, Vanni. I think a lot of people have kind of given you credit for helping to build a winning culture at the Whitecaps, and maybe taking a team that historically had underperformed relative to expectations and won those Canadian championships, got them into the playoffs. What do you think it's going to take? What lessons do you take from that, and what do you think it's going to take to help build a winning culture here in Halifax?
Yeah, it's easy to say we want to create a winning culture. We have to do it by actions. I think we don't have to talk too much. We just have to do it, setting up standards that are really high from day one, especially in training, and remembering everybody that even if you are like, I don't know, a 17-year-old that coming from our academy, or the very well-established player that played like a lot of years in the Champions League, that you need to show up every single day at training, and you need to show that the team is the leader. That is the mantra that I use at the Whitecaps from day one. The team is the leader, and it's a pretty simple thing. What does it mean? That everything that we do, means me included, it's for the benefit of the team. So we need to have this attitude where, we are together, we have to try to win a game. So if I ask you to play in a different position this week because I need you in a different position, I want you to be there and give 100%. If there's to do something different to this training, to do something for your teammate to make him better, we need to have this kind of attitude, because if we do it, not only the team things arrive, but also you're going to develop as an individual player. And it's totally fair that everybody wants to succeed as an individual. If you are, when I was in the MLS, everyone want to go to play in Germany, in the Premier League, in Serie A. Here, maybe it's going to make the step and start in the MLS and going to a bigger league. The only way to reach it, if you're doing your best for the team, because that's the only way to I would say thrive even individually.
Right. At the meet and greet event last night, you made reference to the fact that the Wanderers have both an under 18 and an under 21 program, and you talked about bringing young players into the first team, and how if a 16-year-old is good enough, they're going to make the team.
Yeah.
What do you think it takes to create a youth and underage program that produces players that are first team ready?
So again, it needs standards, and we are putting it. The club is putting it with a program of almost daily training for the U18. Very qualified coaches, the staff that is with them, trying to, I would say, get around all the limitation, not the limitation, all the natural things. So school training very early in the morning, or even late after that, but giving the possibility to do it. That's the first thing. And the second thing is to try to, in my opinion, to create synergy with everybody here in Atlantic Canada. We don't have to forget that we are the only professional team here. And, and so we are not just representing Halifax, but, I think all the Maritime province. And I think we have to do it in the long term, whatever it takes to create a lot of relationships, that every talent that is here is spotted firstly by us, and not by someone in TFC, Montreal, or Vancouver. If someone goes there, it's because we sell them to them. So that's and if we are able to establish that, it's gonna be really important. A big role, I gotta be honest, is on us, the first team, because I think that the most successful is the first team, the most attractive becomes the club for any young kids to come and be part of the of the U18 or U21 program.
In addition to the head coach role, obviously you're taking on the general manager role, which is a new role for you.
Yes.
What are kind of your expectations for that role, and what are you most looking forward to about taking on that role?
So yes, it's a new thing, but that was a very huge point of discussion with Derek. So I said, okay, yes, I have no problem to take the responsibility of the roster building, but I need help. I need help in the sense that it needs to be a team effort. It's always been a team effort in my life. Everything, even coaching, is a team effort. You are the head coach, you take the final decision, but the assistant around you has a very important role. So, and for me, it's critically important the role of Matt Fagan, that is been with the club from day one, is the VP of football operation. So it's gonna work in a sporting director capacity. He's gonna be the one who linked me with a lot of connection in the CPL that I don't have, because I have a lot of connection outside the CPL, but not having worked here, it's hard to be there. And so every decision will be a collaborative decision, a staff decision. The only thing that is different than before, than I was at the Whitecaps, then while at the Whitecaps, I was one of the guy that was in charge of giving his opinion on a player, even if an important opinion, because I was the head coach. Here I will be also the one who make the final decision, and of course that had a little bit more responsibility, but also it allowed me to grow as a person, in the sense, and as a professional, because for the first time I will have to be much more hands-on with the salary cap, or the rules of the under 21, of the rules of the foreign player, to how to sign a player, and I think that is going to help me to become even a better coach, and also maybe prepare me. I don't know, because you're not gonna you can't be a coach till you are 75. So sooner or later, probably you can go to a different role, and you're gonna be ready to do so.
We've heard a lot of positive things about you from Whitecaps supporters, and you would have seen last night, I think, how important the supporter culture is here in Halifax. As head coach, what do you see your relationship with the supporters being like, and what are you kind of looking forward to about the supporter culture here?
So my relationship with the supporters is going to be, first of all, one of gratitude. Professional soccer doesn't exist if the fans don't exist. So that's pretty simple. And so the first one is an obligation to give your, 100% or even more than 100% in order to try to please the fans. The second thing is, for me, availability and honesty and transparency. I will always be honest and transparent with the fan. That can be talking directly to them, or talking through you guys, or through the media. And because we need, in my opinion, this open relationship. If you want, people love the club and they support the club, I think they deserve to be treated not as 5-year-old kids, but they deserve to be treated as adults, and given them the honest reality, or at least how I see the reality, of course. And I will always be open to criticism, in the sense that that's what the fans are. The fans want the good for the club, and it's okay if they think that I made a mistake in the starting 11, or I made a mistake in the formation that I use for a certain game, because that I would say it just proved the passion that people has for the fans. What I ask to the fans is that when to just continue do what they're doing, supporting the teams, being behind the team, because we're gonna have fun together if both the components are gonna be good, and of course I'll do some crazy stuff too, for sure. I've always done it, so I'll do it. So yeah, that's
Obviously, you had a fair bit of success at Whitecaps in the Canadian Championship, and that's a competition the Wanderers have had kind of limited success in the past few years. What kind of lessons can you take from your Can Champ experiences with Whitecaps that you think are applicable here?
First of all, let's touch wood all together because I'm going to say I'm undefeated in the Canadian Championship. I played 3 times. I won 3 times. So that's so hopefully we can go for fourth. I think it's a complete different competition in the league, of course. But I think we must try to do the deepest run possible. Of course, winning the Canadian Championship is going to be hard for a CPL team. The MLS team are equipped with a lot of players. But if you're able to do a deep run, main an upset, and doing like Vancouver FC did this year, first of all, it can bring us probably the most prestigious trophy in the country because it's the one where every professional club is participating. So, yeah. But second, it's going to help tremendously, in my opinion, if we're going to go for the playoff in the future, because those are games that really help you understand what does it mean in and out? What does it mean try to win a game? How to manage that kind of game? So that those are completely different game than the normal one. And so I really hope that we're going to have a deep run. We're going to have a game in our grounds against the MLS team, and why not arriving to the final like VFC did this season.
Yeah, there's definitely a different sort of strategy to winning elimination games versus regular season games. Before I turn it over to Dave, I've got one last CanChamp related question, which is I think there's an iconic image of you taking your shirt off after eliminating, I think it was Montreal.
We beat Toronto. But okay. There's more than one because against Toronto, I took the shirt off to go to the fans. Against Montreal, because I took the shirt off the year before I did it during the interview. That's the thing.
So are we going to see you with your shirt off if we do well in
if we win the Canadian Championship, we need to start a new tradition. So maybe I'll take my shoes off or whatever. Yeah, here in Halifax.
Thanks, Vanni. Over to you, Dave.
All right, great. Thanks, Vanni. Dave here. So you said in the One Soccer interview that there's a pretty good spine of a team here. Obviously, you would have looked at factors like that and who we could re-sign that are on our options. Could you maybe talk about the characteristics you were looking for from like a spine of players that would that you could mold into a Vanni team or could work in your image?
Yes, we will try to be a team that it's going to be a team who can change the pace quickly, who is able to, of course, every coach is going to say, yes, we want to have possession, go in the opposition half and then press in the opposition half and win the ball back. Yeah, that's not a style of play. That's the object. That's a fairy tale if it happens every time. So the style of play is how do you try to do it? And I think the way that we try to do it, it's try to be, again, a team who, I call it manage the pace in order to able to change the pace of the game every time that being able to be patient when the other team is very well defended. So able to make even a couple of passes, but any time that we have the opening to beat, a line of pressure, then go boom, 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 fast. So in order to do so, what do we need? We need players that are, in my opinion, with good quality in the midfield. And, you already have players like, Isaiah Johnston, Lorenzo Caligari. Isaiah also has a top engine, and Lorenzo too, to go up and down. In my opinion, also, we will need some new faces, new blood on the wide side of the pitch. So guys that they're able to really, I would say, change the pace and maybe go 1v1 against a different player and also be able to defend. And at the back, I think we have. At the moment, the only under contract player is TMG, but the guys under options, we are, will retain some of them, and they have good characteristic for me to play probably primarily as a back three, but to have the possibility to be a little bit adaptable. So the thing that I believe is that in my team we will try to play always with someone that exploit the width and at the same time a midfielders that needs to have players. So not only with a flat two midfielders, but play or a diamond or a 6 and 2-8, something like this.
Amazing, thank you. Over the years, we've generally been focused on getting our under 21 minutes from one or maybe two players. Do you see that changing this year?
So it depends. It depends on the. We are, I would say, strategizing the recruitment process also around it, because the ideal fact would be to have at least what I would love, and I say, 2-3 players that they can share those 2,000 minutes, so you're not, I would say, connected to a player that he must play. I want players that fight for the game, and not like, I'm playing. Hey, even if I need to play because I need to play that guy for the 90 minutes. So that's what we'll try to see, but it will be very, very, very connected to the recruitment that we're gonna do. That's the reason why I say that of the players that we wanna bring in, we are thinking about 2, 3, maximum 4, let's say, quote unquote, senior established player, and at least a couple or 3 interesting U21 that can help bring minutes.
Wonderful. So over the years, I'll say we've had trouble winning away from home in general, particularly against teams like Forge and Calgary. I think we've been pretty even with Ottawa over the years. We've generally been able to eke out a draw here and there. So have you looked at any of the film and identified what's given us the problems? I know you talked a bit about this on the One Soccer interview you did. Is it our approach? Is it our playing style?
It's not like, it can be everything. It can be the approach, the playing style. It can be the fact that the environment is completely different, because here you have the fans that are rooting for you in a very close environment that they help you, and they become he becomes the 12th man every time. I think there's 2 things to the thing, or maybe 3. One is no excuses. It's not because we are, very far east. We have to say, it's hard. We had to make like 2 flights or make, 6 hours, blah, blah, blah. No. We go and we try to win. Okay. No excuse. That's the first approach. The second thing is, we'll try. I'm not saying that we're going to win 28 games, but we'll try to win 28 games. That's the thing. That's the idea. We go and try to win every game. There's not a game that we're going to throw away or think, no, we're not going to be, we're just trying to go back and hope. No, we'll try to win 28 games. And third is to find which is the strategy, the best strategy for traveling. In my experience at the Whitecaps, because we had this problem, and then we improved dramatically. My last year in 2024, it was the best year ever for the Whitecaps on the road. I don't know, probably they did even better this season, but last year was the better of all the history of the MLS. Because we, in my opinion, we changed the way of traveling. We never traveled too early to go to a place. It was always the day before. I really believe that, especially us, that we are at East, we're going to gain time when we go play West. We need to minimize the time away, because the more the player can be in their home with their routine and training here and not train away, where you are always scared to show something, so you never do 100% training, the best it is. So that's the strategy that will apply.
Amazing. I've got 2 more quick questions, and then I got some rapid fire ones, and then Anthony's going to take us to the end here. So do you see any similarities between the Whitecaps when you started and where you're coming in with the Wanderers right now?
I see a lot of similarity gotta be honest, in the fact that there's the core of fans, the environment, and even in the club, the Whitecaps, of course, were a bigger club, but there's the same, I would say. I saw even the people like the guys that work in ticketing, the White communication, really willing to try to improve the team. So that's the main similarity that I see. I gotta be honest, in terms of result, in terms of how the club is set in the league, I think I arrived here in a better position than the Whitecaps were when I took the job at the Whitecaps, because we were like, the reason why I took the job, we were like basically last place, and we lost against Pacific in the Canadian Championship.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's what I think. Yeah.
Okay. So I loved your quote yesterday on your One Soccer interview about the Michelin star versus the $50 meal. That could probably fill you up just the same. Do we have many $50 meals here? And if not, what's the plan to bring more of them in?
I think that we have a couple at least. There's no. We have like a striker like Thiago that is like a really good player, guys. So and there's it's not a secret that a lot of clubs around the world are interested in him. So that's so we already have. We have also, again, we played Caligari, TMG, Isaiah, Telfer too. Yeah, it's a good player. We have good players that we have, and the plan is to bring them here to I would say show them that we're gonna have an exciting project here, and we are gonna take care of the players in the best way possible in order to set them up for success, but only if they come here with the right mentality. We're not gonna sign just name for names. I'm telling you, the thing that I'm doing is not only watching games and identifying quality of the player, but every player that there's a minimal interest, I set up calls with them. I want to understand if they really want to come here, and because for me that's the key. That's the key in a league like this that is very close, with each other. The margins are so thin. The fact of having a group that is going to follow the directive that the club wants to do, it's really important.
Amazing. All right. Actually, I do have one more quick question. Is there any update on Jason Bahambula's health? Or is he going to be ready for the start of the season?
They told me that all the fitness guys that it will be, of course, 100% for the first game of the season, so in April. They told me that probably at the beginning of the preseason, the first couple of weeks, he will have to do a program that is differentiated. Of course, hopefully we know how after a serious injury that everything needs to be done in the proper way. But we are setting up to try to see him ready for when we start the season. Okay.
All right. Into our rapid fire here. So, favorite city in Italy?
Florence, my city.
All right. Just making sure.
Easy question.
Making sure. Did Derek Martin have to throw free meals at Ragazzi Italian restaurant bar or the Bicycle Thief to close the deal to get you here?
We went for dinner at the Bicycle Thief when I came here to negotiate. So yes, I would say yes.
Okay, perfect.
And he took
did it measure up? Did it meet your standards?
Yeah. I brought my wife yesterday there, so good.
Oh, yeah. Great. Okay. Favorite post-match supper?
Pizza, probably.
Okay. All right. Did you have a chance to sample the Halifax delicacies like the donair yet?
Not yet, but and I'm vegetarian, so that's the thing.
Ooh, okay.
But I'm committing that even if I'm vegetarian, if we meet certain criteria, like we win a trophy or we do something, I'm gonna eat meat or a lobster roll or whatever you wanna.
I love that. Instead of the shoes or the shirt, you're forced to eat a donair. Yeah. What is your alcoholic or adult beverage of choice?
So I would say red wine, probably. Any Italian wine. I love Chianti, I love Barolo, I love Montepulciano, I love the wine of the South, like Nero d'Avola. So that I would say I'm more of a, but I'm also I love beer too. So I'm a beer and wine guy. I'm not a liquor guy. I'm not like a whiskey or whatever. Like I'm really a beer and wine guy. Like wine with with a nice meal and beer, especially like with friends, or I don't know, on a very hot day in summer, on a beach. You have a very refreshing beer is good.
Wonderful. Okay. We might never get you out of the bicycle thief then, the course of the year. Do you have a favorite song that past supporters clubs have sung about you?
I really loved, when every club, every supporters team, they do the song on the theme of Bella Ciao, the Italian partisan
Okay.
song. I really like it. But I also like. Sometimes when you go to football games, you become like a 5-year-old kid, and I don't know if you can say bad word here, but I really,
Oh yeah.
I know I know I know I liked it when at the White Cup the other they were saying the other name of the player, and they were saying wanker every time. That I know it's silly, but they were
Usually we save that one for the referees in Halifax,
okay.
but anyway, that's great. Anto, over to you.
I just had one more quick question. So, I don't know if you've been to the stadium and seen what it's like and stuff like that.
Yes, I've
how,
been.
how excited are you to have a team playing on grass? Because I'm
I
sure.
like it. I like the idea of team playing on grass. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be different than, of course, what I've done in the last few years, where home we were on turf. So even the idea of doing something, I want to understand. Luckily, we will train sometimes before the game, before the start of the season in the stadium. So I want to understand like the speed of the ball when it goes, in order to understand cue for pressing, those kind of things. But I actually more excited to see the stadium full of fans, like I've seen on TV a couple of times, and it looks like really an exciting atmosphere. So I really want to see the stadium and the stadium erupt because we scored a goal, or because the game is over and we won.
Trust me, you're gonna love it. It's when on a game day when we're winning,
Yeah.
it's the greatest feeling in the world. It's just everybody in on top of you. It's so much fun. Are you worried that Derek Martin has more jobs lined up for you?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna do like a ticket sale or whatever. Yeah, it's
I'll walk in to buy a jersey and you'll be behind the counter.
yeah,
Uh, Va-
I'm the thing is that we need to go for quality, not for quantity. So let's try to stick to this too. Yeah.
so really appreciate you taking time. I know it's been a crazy
No
36
problem.
hours for you. We really appreciate you hanging out with us, and it's going to be a long preseason, probably longer than what you're used to. But
Yes.
we,
But I'm really looking forward to start. Yeah.
we can't wait to see your team out in front of the fans. So congratulations and thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Okay,
Vanni.
Thanks,
buddy.
Vanny.
Going into Tide's corner here, Derek. Obviously, there was a bit of news today as well on the head coach front. Stephen Hart has been announced as the full-time coach. He's no longer interim. I just want to get your thoughts on it and what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think we discussed this when he was first brought on that, I thought it was a sensible choice at the time, and time would tell whether it was sort of the good choice for the long run. I'll say, I've heard for a while that he's coming back, so I'm not overly surprised by the news. I guess I'm a little surprised in the sense that I'm not sure he was given a 17 game run in charge and kind of had that initial new manager bounce of winning his first couple of games. But after that, we went on a 15 game winless streak. And I'm not sure I saw the improvement I would have wanted to see in the team over his time as head coach or over his time as interim coach that would have led me to bring him back on a permanent basis. And we've obviously seen a lot of Stephen over the past several years as coach of the Wanderers, as coach of the men's national team, all that stuff. So I feel like we've had a longer kind of time to evaluate, who he is and what he does. And I think he's a fantastic person and a great asset to the local soccer team. I'm not overly enthused about him becoming the permanent head coach. I did think there was other options out there that the club might have looked at, and again, it's hard to look past a 15-game winless streak to end the season. You're always saddled with certain things when you come in partway through the season, but he did have a transfer window in the middle. They did bring in 4 players that I assume he had a hand in bringing in and selecting, and it still didn't seem to make the difference you might have hoped that it made. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's some other more exciting news that came out today as well. So, obviously they're bringing in some other folks. So, Ruth Fahy's coming in
What's the
as
title? It's a
director of,
vice
sorry,
president of football.
vice president of football. And so I'm curious. I think we're going to try to get her on the pod, but I'm curious where that role kind of fits in the structure. Does that mean she's now Amit Batra's boss as sporting director? Who answers to her? I assume she reports up to the president, Val Malone. So I'm kind of curious where she fits into the picture. I think that's a nice add because I think if there's one thing that concerned me a bit first season in terms of their staffing, at least on the football side, football operations side, was they brought in a lot of people from the amateur side of the game, a lot of youth sports people. So, Lewis is head coach, the assistant coaches, Amit himself and stuff like that. And she's got some background both in MLS and in the League of Ireland, as a professional, as both a player and so I think she's somebody that hopefully the people around her who maybe, the Tides was kind of their first taste of working in professional football, that she's going to be a good sort of mentor and resource for them and can help develop some of the local coaches that are rounding out the team right now. So I think that's a good hire. And then obviously we got a roster update today. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. So
Just before we do, I just wanted to like Dave. You've worked obviously with Stephen, um, like day to day, and you kind of know him like a lot better than what we would do. So you've been around him as he's building a club. So what do you think he will do in the off season to try and, as Derek said, like it was a big losing streak. What do you think he'll do to try and push things forward and change the one I look?
Well, I think what's interesting about Hardy is he'll have time to drill his defensive actions into them now. Like, so assuming it goes on the same kind of trajectory that the Wanderers did, he'll be looking for those great athletes who can defend as a team, maybe some quick breaks, might be looking for like a top end striker to be able to either hold the ball up or score bags of goals, and people that can whip in crosses. When I watched the games last year, I just felt like there was a lack of strength. I think is the easiest way to like, they weren't overly fast. They didn't shoot the ball very hard. The keeper was a bright spot, I thought, but I just like they would leave passes short. A lot of mistakes were just bad passes through the midfield. So maybe he could clean that up and just get in playing more mistake-free soccer. I guess my bigger question would be, I thought when this league was launched, it was for women by women to build these pathways. So they had a chance to step out of that male head coach pathway, and they've had a long time to like be thinking about this even last season and move in a different direction as far as having a female head coach, female staff. I thought that's what this league was about. So maybe he's the most talented head coach that they could find that would commit. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just intrigued about like where that piece is going for me, and like how a team would react to someone like him versus, I don't know, new female coach X that would be coming in with some professional experience, assuming that they were out there and available. So I don't know enough about the women's game and who might be free to come in and take those type of roles. But knowing what we know about the salary caps and the minimum salaries and stuff, this league's like pretty interesting to play in if you're a player. So I would think recruiting players would be, except for the highest level of player, would be pretty straightforward. Anyway, I'm interested. Like, I have a lot of time, a lot of respect for Hardy. He did a lot of great things for a lot of players. And I just thought he was really going to be an interim solution for them. And they were going to move in a different direction. But I'll just say best of luck to the Tides and their now permanent head coach.
I think the acquisition of Ruth Fahy is like I think that to me that was bigger news. I think that was definitely something that the club needed, as Derek said, that it's been kind of they haven't had much of a professional kind of leadership in the background. Like Ruth has got like UEFA pro pro licenses
Yeah.
and the coaching badges and stuff like that. So she's kind of knows it from both ends, like the the organization side of things plus the coaching side. So I think that'll be a really good resource. I was also surprised that they went with Stephen Hart as the full-time coach, but they've obviously seen something in those last 20 games or whatever where he was in charge that convinced them that he was the way forward. I think he's probably learned a lot from the Wanderers on how to organize a professional club, and I think that's probably what they were kind of enamored with because obviously Lewis didn't have that experience. So there could be that, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and I think you got to kind of go with it with um, you know open eyes and also kind of go with a bit of hope that it works out because Stephen, as Dave said, Stephen's a great guy, so you kind of want it to work for him, right?
No, just I'll be interested to see what they do too. So they did mention in the announcement that there's both an assistant coach and a performance analyst role open. So Kennedy Kirash was with the team last season as an assistant and was the performance analyst too. And it sounds like she's departed the club. And it sounded like from the way it was worded that they're looking to fill those as two separate roles. So that may be another opportunity, to Dave's point, to bring in some women with high coaches with high potential that may be able to take the reins in a year or two. Katie Barrett, it will be continuing in her role as an assistant as well. So maybe they see her as a coach for the future. I don't know. I don't have any particular insight on that, but I'll watch with interest to see how they fill those remaining roles and what that says about kind of the direction things are headed.
It just seems to me, it just seems kind of funny. And like I think the marketing side of the toys has been fantastic. I've said it a few times, but to announce that the day after the superstar signing that the Wanderers had from yesterday just didn't seem the greatest. I feel like they should have done that a couple of weeks ago. They probably had it in the bag, or they might have been waiting on Ruth Fahy or something. I don't know, but it just seems like it's so underwhelming the way it was announced compared to what the Wanderers had yesterday. So it was kind of an odd one for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they did announce today that they've retained 10 players from last year's roster. There weren't a lot of surprises there. Most of those had been announced as returning players already, either directly by the club or had kind of been hinted at on Instagram. I think the only names that maybe we hadn't seen before, Sarah Miller hadn't been announced previously, Karima Lemaire, and Jules Valorand also was a new name in terms of players retained. There was reference to the fact that they're still in active negotiations with one or more other players, and I noticed when I kind of looked through who was on the list of retained, and then they did a message thanking departing players. That when you look at who the photos of the departing players are, the player that's missing is Sarah Taylor. And so I'm, reading between the lines, I'm thinking that maybe she is one of the ones that they're still in active negotiations with. I think when you look at kind of the makeup of the squad and who they've retained, it's largely the players I would have kept if I was in the same position, frankly. I mean, you look at them and you say these are sensible retentions. These were the stronger players last year. They are going to need upgrades in some key positions. So a little thin in central midfield at the moment. And that's probably, frankly, to Dave's point earlier about how they move the ball, I think that's probably where the biggest upgrade is needed, is in central midfield. And so I think there's an opportunity there. There's a designated player rule in the league, where you designate a player and they're not a cap hit. And I think that player for us last year was Erin McLeod. So presumably with her retirement, the DP spot opens up. There's some other players on there that I think were probably higher cap hits as well that are gone. And so hopefully that gives the team some flexibility to bring in the players they need, because I think they've got to be able to bring in probably at least half a dozen players that are starting quality at the very least, and some game breakers. Dave made a good point earlier about bringing in a striker. I think in Tiff Cameron they've got one that can hold up the ball well, and so bringing a striker with maybe she profiles, I think, a bit more as a target player that can receive the ball and hold it up. And so you're maybe looking for a striker with a slightly different profile, whether it's like a fox in the box type or what, might depend on the tactics you're going to play. But definitely, a marquee striker, a couple of two, at least two solid central midfielders. They've kept, four of the backline players, and so maybe some upgrades or some depth there as well, and some pace out wide. I think Dave mentioned that as well, that pace was a bit lacking. I think they've got some good wingers that can really grind it out, but maybe not, maybe add a bit of pace on the wings and a bit of excitement from that standpoint. So yeah, lots to still come, I imagine.
I kind of I read the article today on their website. Kind of one of the good things I like there was that they also mentioned off the field that they had like a very strong um, ticket sales, and they had very strong merchandise and stuff like that, and they were one of the top regular season attendance, even though that the results weren't there. So that goes to show you like that the city's in behind the team, and you just. If they get, I think if they get a team that's going to start winning games, it's going to take off even more than what it has. So I think it's a very important pre-season for them in terms of
Yeah,
player recruitment. As Dave said, that there's a lot of players that it's very difficult in a fourth season to get it right. And I think that in some places they got it right, in other places they kind of got it wrong. So I think this is a very important preseason for them to try and fix what they got wrong last year. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
yeah, you're gonna want some signings, some that generate some excitement. So, like I said, with that DP slot, there's a chance to bring in a higher profile player that fans might be familiar with. In terms of the attendance piece, like somebody was asking me about that last night, and I think it was relatively flat across the season. Like you didn't really see a decline even due to the lack of results. But I do think if they get on a roll and start winning some games, that's where you'll see it start to grow, right? Like you said, get people excited about it, and hopefully those attendance numbers creep up and start to get closer to where the Wanderers are at. So
Awesome. So just before we go, I do want to say congrats to a friend of the show, Josh Healy. He had something printed in the Athletic, I think, the other day, and he's
Yeah.
been working very diligently away with One Soccer through the season and this and CPL, and obviously he has his own blog and stuff like that. So congratulations to him. Yeah, so exciting times ahead. Do you know what? Like I'm genuinely blown away with who we got, and I think it's gonna. I think Patrice. I wanted to ask him about the legacy that Patrice had left behind, and I think that Patrice has left a very good foundations for him to build onto. As he said himself, that what he's coming into compared to what he was at with the Whitecaps is a lot better, because obviously we weren't last year. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I it was. I think a lot of people were kind of surprised to see Sean Rea has popped up in Montreal at FC Super, because all the talk was that he wanted to go into Europe. I guess that didn't materialize for him, so he's back in Montreal. I think that he was one of our best players last year, but it always felt that it never reached the heights of where that was supposed to go. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm great. It's great that we have such a core of good players, and Vanni said that there's a couple of players that they're going to retain that are on options, which is great too. So I'm
Well, I
really
love if he's immediately thinking about a back three, that just makes those defenders that are on options, like any one of them can play in that
yeah.
system. So, if the money's right, then you could see Sell and Mekadesh back, and
Offense.
Jefferson,
Yeah.
and then you probably have your back three, maybe, unless you're like those with TMG, maybe you need one more. I don't know. But anyway, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, lads. That was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
All right,
thanks,
cheers.
guys. Come on, you Wanderers. Come on, you
On you
Tides.
tides.
Votes, please. Right vote, please. Time to drink up, folks. Get out. Dr. Book.